What's up everybody, Chris coming to you from Salty Island, and we're back 2 videos in a row. Last week we did the Tyranids Crusade mode, went over that, put together a Crusade Force army. This week we're going to go ahead and do the opposite side, and we've got the Space Marines, Sons of the Phoenix chapter. This one you've seen, we built this army for 8th edition. It's been around since then, it's been on a couple of videos, but we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Crusade mode for 10th edition, put together a force, and talk a little bit about my thoughts on what's different, where Crusade mode's going, and some hopes and dreams coming up for the next few codexes. So let's go ahead and just dive right in. Won't take too much time on this one. So wanted to just walk through the Space Marines. We'll put a link at the end of the video if you want to go ahead and check out the Tyranid video if you hadn't seen that already, or there'll probably be a link as this keeps going on that will go to the full playlist if you want to see all of our videos about Crusade mode. So just like the Tyranids, the Space Marines have a special narrative that they can play through. What they've got is the Oathsworn campaign. This one is a little bit different from the Tyranids, where the Tyranids were all about invading planets, devouring the planets, and then repeating the process over and over again, getting as big as possible. The Space Marines actually give you some options on how you want to go ahead and basically serve the Imperium. To get started with, there are 3 campaigns that your Space Marine chapter can go on when you start up a Crusade force. First one is the Unflinching Bulwark. This is the defensive campaign where you want to defend the Imperium and protect its people and its planets and its resources. It gives you a bunch of different options on that. For example, there's a unique requisition where in any battle you can spend 1 RP and automatically become the defender in the scenario. They also have bonus agendas, and we're going to get to the bonus agendas in a second. The second campaign is the Precision Strike. This is where you go out, and this is the Crusading campaign, to reclaim planets in the name of the God Emperor. This one has a unique requisition where you can spend 1 RP and automatically become the attacker in any scenario that you're playing. The third one is kind of the interesting one also. It's the Forging of Legends. This scenario essentially is all about you going out and making a name for your chapter. It's about creating honor and recognition and getting more known amongst the ranks of the Imperium itself. There's a few chapters that this would suit really well. Space Wolves definitely come to mind. This one has a unique requisition wherein you purchase this requisition after a battle where your warlord survived, and your warlord can essentially nominate another character to recognize them for their great deeds, gain some bonus XP. Now, what do you get for each of these campaigns? Well, in the Space Marine, because the Marines are all about going out and doing service to the Imperium, so you get a couple of different things which are very different from the Tyranids. First one is the Space Marines are out to collect honor points, and you collect honor points by winning games. There are also agendas that you can claim during the battle wherein you will gain more honor, and there are other secondaries or type things that you can do to also increase the amount of honor that you gain. Primarily though, you gain it by just playing games. The second thing that the Oathsworn campaigns do is you get a bonus agenda. So the standard rule in Crusade mode is when you have a mission, rather than choosing the secondaries that you get from your normal competitive type games, your agendas are geared specifically towards the Crusade mode, either generating Crusade mode specific resources, your army specific resources, or getting more XP for your models and for your faction. The Space Marines get a bonus agenda, so rather than just getting 2, they get a free third one, and the third one is a random agenda based on which campaign you do. So for example, the Unflinching Bulwark has 3 bonus agendas. One is Priority Kill Zone, where in each time an Astartes unit from your Crusade that is within your deployment zone destroys an enemy unit within range of an objective marker, the Crusade force gains 1 honor point. There's Defiance Unfurled. At the start of the battle, select 1 objective marker in no man's land. If there is an objective marker within 6 of the center, you got to choose that one. At the end of the battle, if an Astartes unit from your army controls that objective marker, the Crusade force gains 4 honor. And lastly is drive them back. At the end of the battle, if there are 2 or fewer enemy units within your deployment zone, your Crusade force gains 4 honor points. So as you can see, all of the bonus agendas are narratively leaning towards what kind of campaign you're doing. The Precision Strike is more about being offensive, and the Forging of Legends is more about your characters completing certain tasks. A little Space Wolf-esque in that regard. And this is on top. This one, you get 1 free on top of the 2 that you always get to choose from your agendas. So additional ways for your force to continue to grow. Likewise, like mentioned, the other one is honor points. And honor points are the recognition that your force has built up over time. You get honor points for winning battles relative to the size of the game that you played. Incursion games give you 2, Strike Force games give you 3, and Onslaught gives you 5. And once you accumulate sufficient honor, you can spend that honor at the end of a Old Sworn campaign to essentially elevate one of your characters. A captain, for example, can be elevated to a chapter master. The apothecary can become chief apothecary. The chaplain can become the master of sanctity, such on and so forth. You can also upgrade other specific models. There is specific lines of upgrades that you can do. For example, you can promote something from the reserve company, for like your scout squad. You can automatically spend 5 honor points and replace that unit with one of the following units, something like a Desolation squad, an Eradicator squad, a Hellblaster squad, Infernus, Intercessor, Aggressor. You kind of get the idea. The benefit of this is this unit does not lose any of the XP that it previously accumulated. You can also do things like promote one of the other squads to the first company, be it a Terminator squad, Blade Guard vets, Stern Guard squad. And there's multiple ways that you can go ahead and continue to elevate things. A lieutenant can become a captain, and then you have them go from a captain to a chapter master. And again, the main benefit to all of this is early on in the Crusade mode, like we know that you're limited to the 1,000 points. You may not want to spend the points on the captain, but as your army grows, you may want a captain, and you don't want the captain to start from 0 XP. You can promote your lieutenant to a captain, and then progressively promote your captain to a chapter master, getting relevant bonuses. And there are Crusade benefits. These benefits are Crusade only. But for example, with the chapter master, when he becomes a chapter master, you get to choose one of these effects. He either gains Master of the Codex once per battle. After you've selected your Oath of Moment target, select the second enemy unit. So you get 2 Oath of Moments. Alternately, he can get the title Master of Combat, which is once per battle in your command phase. You use this ability. If it does, at the end of the turn, add 2 to the damage characteristics of weapons equipped by this model. So he basically buffs himself up. And these are various relevant buffs throughout the different things. The Apothecary and the Master of Sanctity and the Chief Librarian all get their different options. So all very thematic, all very narrative. Like I had mentioned on the previous video, all of these upgrades and benefits are specific to Crusade mode. The main thing being that there's no points associated with them. You get the Crusade points, and that's sort of how they acknowledge that a particular unit might be stronger from its Crusade relevant buffs. So if you're playing against a person who's not playing in Crusade mode, right? Obviously, you can't really make use of these things without their consent. They could consent to it, or they could just start their own Crusade. But if you and your friends are playing in a Crusade campaign, obviously you can get some very fun, very flavorful narrative type buffs and combinations going. So that is the Space Marine Crusade campaign, the Old Sworn campaign. Super fun. I actually like this one. I like the theme of the Tyranid Crusade, in that they're devouring planets, and once you complete that, you go ahead and then re-roll and generate a new planet. Whereas the Crusade, for the Space Marines, it's about going on a campaign. Again, very narrative. They've shown some previews for the Necrons and the Admech. They look extremely fun also, so we'll be going over that as, again, they're armies that we've got in-house. As a quick clarification, because some people commented on this, when you are playing in a Crusade mode, you can field any of the detachments that come with your force. And for some armies, Space Marine in particular, you can get multiple types of detachments. Some of them, you might even potentially have multiple detachments from multiple books. If you're, say, from the Black Templars or the Blood Angels, you have your own unique one, plus you have access to the ones out of the Space Marine book. So how do you know what you can choose in terms of the enhancements? And the way that the rules as written work is you can pick any enhancement as long as it is legal for the army. It does not need to be legal for the detachment. Can this be abusive? Yeah. Theoretically, you could pick an enhancement from the First Company detachment and then play the Anvil Siege Force detachment, thus essentially giving you a combination that otherwise would not be possible. Again, this is narrative. It's in the spirit of the game, not about going and trying to min-max and power game it. So, but I just did want to go ahead and point out that that is the way it works, is you choose the enhancement. The enhancement is permanent to the unit that gets the enhancement. It is a permanent upgrade on them, and they get to use that enhancement regardless of which detachment that you choose to play in any given battle. That way that character's not locked into only being fielded when you're fielding a specific detachment. So I hope that clarifies that. So let's go over the Crusade mode army that we put together for the Sons of the Phoenix Space Marine chapter. We're going to start with the campaign. We're taking the Unflinching Bulwark. This is once again the Crusade campaign in which you are defending the Imperium. Like I mentioned, you do get a lot of defensive type buffs associated with that. I think the Anvil Siege Force is pretty thematically appropriate for making use of this campaign, because the Anvil Siege is a lot of benefits to standing still, getting heavy, and getting benefits to both hit and wound for many of the units that are going to be in this army. One thing that we're also going to do is we're going to spend one of those RPs, give ourselves a Renowned Heroes upgrade for the Lieutenant Stoic Defenders. On that note, we have for characters both an Apothecary as well as a Lieutenant. Lieutenant is getting the enhancement Stoic Defenders, 6+ Feel No Pain when controlling an objective, as well as half OC when battle shocked. We're also going to go with a unit of 5 Intercessors, a unit of 10 Intercessors. 10 Intercessors is most likely going to combine with the Lieutenant all the time, giving us a nice big block of objective control. We have a 3-man Eliminator squad, a 5-man Hellblaster squad. Ideally, the Hellblasters will also be going with the Apothecary for the overcharging of the Hellblasters. We're going to have 1, 2, and 3 Invader ATVs. And lastly, Redemptive Dreadnought with the Heavy Onslaught Gatling, Twin Stormbolter, and the Icarus Rocket Pod. So, Redemptive Dreadnought is primarily for clearing out hordes. The Invader ATVs will all be equipped with the Multi-Melta, so they will be on tank hunting duty. Hellblasters and the Eliminators, I believe their weapons are heavy naturally, so that combines very well with the Anvil Siege Force to give them a nice buff. Everyone else, as long as they stand still, will also gain heavy, also a nice little buff for them as well. And lots of the strategies synergize very well with the units in this army. So overall, I think this one will be a lot of fun to play. And that's pretty much it. So setting up the Crusade, very easy, very straightforward. We've got 1 Space Marine, we've got 1 Tyrannid. So obviously the idea will be in the next video, we're going to be playing a game between the two. So definitely go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button if you want to go ahead and see that Crusade mode game. It'll be a little bit different than playing a competitive game. The scenarios with a lot of the Crusade modes tend to be asymmetrical, in which the attacker defender has very different objectives. Secondaries, like I had mentioned, don't score you points in terms of winning the game, but they will give you Crusade benefits, so that is a big difference as well. But it's also a bit nice, in my opinion, in the sense that even if you don't win the game, if you complete your secondaries, they will benefit your Crusade force in terms of giving them additional XP. It'll be very different. The style of play will be very different, because even if you're losing the game, you can still play to complete the secondaries and get yourself some benefit. And overall, I think Crusade mode, it has a lot to offer, especially if you're getting a little burned out with just raw competitive games. Go ahead and give Crusade a try. You'll find some very interesting missions, as well as some creative ways to make you think about playing your army that you might not lean into if you're just playing your standard score as much points as you can. So again, if you're interested in all that, go ahead, hit the like, hit the subscribe video. We will see you guys next week, as I fully intend to put together a game for you. Peace out, everybody.